Well. Hello from me in my incredibly squeaky chair. Maybe I should just ignore it, actually. That's probably what I should do. So, another episode with me, myself, and I. Two things. We are free-balling this episode. I don't have any real major topic. I kind of have some topics in the back of my head. Also, I think I'm just updating you on where I am at in life now, hoping that it can also resonate with others. Certain things that are going on in my life, with business, work, personal. And I don't have any more interviews at the present moment. I am interviewing 2 people this weekend, so there will be more interviews, but been on a little back-to-back solo Kendra, if you will. And that honestly might happen a lot more times in the future. And who knows, in the future, I could just have several interviews lined up and no solo episodes. It's the beautiful thing about life, fluidity. Yes, there should be a schedule, but there also doesn't really need to be a schedule. It just happens when it happens. And that is how I choose to allow life to happen to me, and how I also choose to allow business and the flow of this podcast to happen. Because sometimes if you try to push things, it ends up not working. So why push? Why try to fit everything into a little box when what is right and what is natural and is in alignment for you will just come with ease and the flow of life. So, anyways, like I mentioned, we are totally just freeballing this episode. It is Pride Month still. Today is June 21st. And as many of you know or listened to my last podcast episode, this is my first Pride Month. And it has come with a whole bunch of things that I was not necessarily planning on this month being. But like I said, you just got to move with the flow of life, and life is going to give you what it's going to give you. So at the beginning of this month, I was super excited. You know, there's still a tinge of just slight despair, trying to remain optimistic about most things in life. Slight despair with the amount of, legislation and laws that are hurting people in the LGBTQIA plus community, that are especially hurting trans individuals and trans youth and children in the way of not being able to provide health care for those who need it. So, that's still going on, obviously. It will probably continue to go on for a while, or maybe indefinitely, or at least for the rest of my life. Who knows? It'll always be something that is going to be in the background, and unfortunately the foreground for those who it is affected by mostly. Again, those who need gender-affirming healthcare and just healthcare for their bodies. Whether that be physical, mental, the list goes on. So I thought, oh yeah, it's my first Pride Month. I'm out, I'm queer, I'm asexual, I'm demisexual. Who knows? I may be bi. Who fucking knows? Let's go party. Sick as a dog. I get strep throat at the end of May and beginning of June. So the last episode that I recorded was in between me getting sick again. So I had strep throat, was getting a little bit better. Posted that last episode, me talking about pride and all that stuff, and then she gets sick again. And I was just out. I was just out for the couch for like a few weeks. I was just on the couch. I felt hopeless for the first couple of weeks. I was just stressed. I'm also, since I am newly relocated out of the van full-time into living in an apartment and in a new city that's still not that far away from Seattle, which is where a lot of my clientele still reside and are at. I'm still technically in a new city, so I'm needing to find new clients, new clientele, everything. So money has been a little tight lately, as it has been for a lot of people. And I find myself in this own also just, I mean, preface, there's vulnerability in this episode. There's vulnerability in all of my episodes. Because I believe if you can't just be open and honest about the truth, whether it is either embarrassing or shameful or even wrong or bad or good or whatever, it's your truth, and your truth is your truth, and nobody can deny your truth. Nobody can write over your truth. Nobody can tell you what your truth is. So, as all of my episodes are, even in conversation with people, vulnerability. So here is me being vulnerable. But, so I find myself sick as a dog on my couch. My throat hurts, my head hurts, I'm stuffy, I'm just miserable. And I'm laying on my couch, and I have got the least amount of money, probably since I was in my mid-20s. So that's like six years ago. I've always been really good with my money, and I'm very proud of that. Very proud of that. But you know, as those of you who've been following me, this van has put me in a different place financially, which is why I am back living in an apartment. So, I have been in a little bit of a sticky situation, if you will, when it comes to money and, you know, getting new clients, bringing new clients in, just being in a new area, reminding people that I am back in Washington State and I can travel to you, whether that be Seattle, Eastern Washington, Bellingham, Everett, Tacoma, wherever. I'm back. So in a bit of a transition period, I guess you can say. And then on top of it, being sick, I'm laying on my couch. I can't do anything. I can't go anywhere. I can barely eat. I can barely talk when I had strep. My throat hurt so bad, so bad. And I just felt so worthless. I kept referring it to like my mom and my friends that I was, talking to, that I talk to, frequently. I just kept referring it to like going through a little bit of a rock bottom, if you will. And there was like a day where I was just kind of really like, oh, this sucks. My bank account is not looking good. I'm stressed. I've got bills to pay. I've got an apartment to pay for now. I have a car loan now because I needed a car because my van is not reliable and it's still in the damn mechanic. It was just all like not looking great. And it's like for a day, I was really just like, this fucking blows. Like this truly does suck. Not in a good space. But just kind of like getting over being sick, then getting sick again, and really being like, okay, bitch, rest. Honor the call. The call is telling you that you're sick and you need to rest your body, no matter how much you think that you need to be moving and grooving right now in order to bring in an income. It's still not the time because you're sick. Go with the flow of life. Life gets me sick, then life gets me sick again. I'm listening to it this time. But when I was ruminating on the couch for the second time being sick, I was thinking about how when I was in my like early 20s and when I was younger, and like Kendra 6 years ago, when I was developing, my business and like making money and putting money aside and not having to worry about money at all, knowing that I had my rent money, knowing that I had my car payment money, knowing that I had money to go out and have fun, knowing that I had gas money, knowing that I had money to buy friends gifts if I saw a cute little thing at the store. Never having to stress or worry about that, the beginning of that time. But thinking back on that time and even shortly after that, because once you have this, the relationship with money is weird. It can really depend on your overall like happiness and ease through life. For me, at least, depends on money mostly. I'm stressed when I know I don't have money, and it's because I know that I am my only person that is bringing in an income. I'm my only person working on my business, and I'm the only person that can feed myself, feed my dog, pay for rent. So And I understand that that is a big stressor for a lot of other people as well. They find that if they are not in a financial place that is good, they're stressed, they're anxious, they're worried, all of the above. So I find that when I am in a place where I don't have to worry about money, it's just something that helps me in life deal with the other stressors in life. So like, yeah, I'll combat this depression and this anxiety and this self-loathing time. And I'll focus on that because I know I don't have to stress about the next several months of rent or anything like that. Or I know based on the projects booked for the rest of the month or the rest of the summer, the rest of the year, that I'm good. So for me personally, money, it helps. It does. Especially in this day and age when everything is just so expensive and you need it to survive. But I was thinking back about when I was younger and when I would have like financial hardships and I would worry about being able to afford rent, etc., etc. And then I find myself in a place that I haven't been in since like my early 20s when it comes to money, and having this little at the time and having so much debt at the same time and dealing with like external stressors like this money sucking van that I have that I'm going to try and sell once it's done out of the mechanic. Pray for me, please. And just thinking about how those times back then ruined me. Panic attacks on my car drive to and from work, calling my mom and having my mom answer and just having this like shaky voice, just like, oh God, what's she going to say? Like, where is she? Is she okay? Is she having a panic? Like, I would just break down. I wasn't strong enough back then to deal with a lot of the things that I had going on in my life. But what I also realized is that I also am at this place now that I have, and call it maybe just getting older, but as someone who has been actively working on their spiritual journey, so to speak, I feel as if I can see reflected in me so much work that I have done on myself and that I have instilled the past several years within me to get me to this place of realizing spirit, the universe, God, not like Christian God, but like I'm talking about God as in like how Kanye views God, which is himself, which is in a weird way kind of true. I don't support Kanye. You obviously, it's a little much, but we are God. We are the universe. Spirit is us. Our higher self is us. So knowing that like I've got me. Yes, I am in a little bit of a predicament and a pickle right now, if you will, but I know that I've got me, and I know that everything is going to work out as it should. And it just made me realize that like, no matter what happens, no matter what has happened in my past, in my life, in my present, and what is about to happen in the future, everything is going to be fine. And I spent so many years of my life just unnecessarily stressing and worrying and in survivor mode and freaking out, stressing about money, making payments, making bills. How am I being perceived by others, by my peers, by my family, by the person walking down the goddamn street? There has just been so much of my life that I have felt just consumed by my own thought and the perception that others were having about me. I also want to take time right now to shout out two people in my life that they don't know how important they are to me. But it is Candace Love and Docs, aka Brick City Buddha. They are, I like to call them like my soul healers, my mentors. I did a retreat in Tulum last year with them called the Remembering Me Retreat. And of course, they have a podcast called Remembering Me, a soul healing podcast. And Miss Candice Love just put out a book, her first book on this sort of topic, called Remember Who the Fuck You Are. And so this past month, I have been resting naturally from being sick, and I have been catching up on their podcast episodes, and they're just incredible. They're amazing. I recommend everybody to go listen to their podcast episodes. They speak about things in a way that just click. And they really they open you up wide open every single episode, and you really get to look deep inside of yourself and see the reflections that they show from their own experiences and day-to-day circumstances in life, and how that can oftentimes mirror the same thing or a similar thing or an instance that you are going through. It might not be the same exact thing. Like, I listened to their episode on infidelity, and I was like, this doesn't really pertain to me. I'm single. I don't have sex. It's been over 8 years since I've had sex. So like, this isn't like, I thought for a second about just skipping the episode, and then I was just like, no, because what I found was like 45 minutes of that episode, it was not necessarily diving into infidelity, behind infidelity, stuff like that. They were talking about other stuff in life, communication, things that also pertain to why people in relationships, couples, monogamous relationships might lead towards infidelity. So it's just, I can't recommend them enough. I really hope that you all take time to go out and follow them on Instagram, Candice Love, Brick City Buddha on Instagram, and listen to all of their podcast episodes and get you some free therapy, because I think everybody in this world needs therapy, and we really all need it now. I will always be seeking out help and guidance in this way, especially from two spiritual mentors such as these two. But when I was listening to their podcast recently, Candice mentions a lot in her words, in her speaking, in her book. I have yet to read her book yet. Again, money's a little tight right now, so I'm waiting to buy it. But she mentions a lot, even when we were back in Tulum, and I had already said this just previously on this episode, to honor the call. And if the call is coming to you, meaning like, oh, Kendra, you're going to be sick for literally 4 weeks, honor it. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to work on your business. Don't try to hash things out with people. Your body, and it's not even like, spiritually you can receive a call. Physically, I was receiving a call. And I think when we physically receive a call, that's the number one, like, listen to your body. Your body is telling you to rest. Yeah, your bank account is looking a little scary right now, but guess what? You're not supposed to stress about that right now. You're supposed to rest. You're supposed to rest. Honoring that call. And a lot of times in life and society where, I was just at a photo club a couple days ago, and we were just talking about this. Our attention span is so short these days because of social media, TikTok videos, and, it's just like we are consuming things at a rapid speed and rate and fire. And I think for me personally, kind of internally, it makes me feel like I've got to be doing something. I've got to be going, I've got to be moving, I've got to be educating myself, I've got to be emailing people, I've got to be editing, I've got to not stop. Even when I'm sick, I got to go. I got to push through it. I don't have time to be sick. Bitch has to take care of her bills. You got to go, go, go. And I think this reflection of our world right now, in a place that is just high stress, high strung, we're moving. There's not a lot of time or breathing room, so to speak, to feel like, okay, I can rest right now, or I should rest. And in the last handful of their podcast episodes, Candice and Doc's talking about just honoring the call. It's mostly honoring silence. If you're being called to do something, instead of rushing into doing, you need to let it almost like build within you first. The answers and the tools and the structure that you're looking for and that you need, or that is imperative for you to have and acquire in order to complete these projects and these ideas and everything that you want to do. All of that, the answers are going to come from within you. And the only time you're going to be able to hear those answers is if you listen. And listening it's not doing. It's not going. Okay, I got to read this book. I got to do this. I got to do this. Sit still. Listen to your body. Breathe in. Meditate. Do yoga. Ground yourself. The answers to everything in life are within you. You have them. They're ready. They're in there. You just need to dig them out. And oftentimes we think digging them out requires work, movement, fast pace, go, go, go. But it's stillness. It's silence. It's being able to tune in to your body, to dive deep into that soul, to dive deep into the past Kendra, the past life, the relationships, the everything. All of that information is in here. It's in here. And I think I had this huge breakthrough recently of because again, as someone who's been in survivor mode most of their adult life, most of their life, most of my life. I mean, dealing with depression and anxiety at such a young age as a child and then not feeling love, it's survivor mode. You're in survivor mode with your feelings. And then when you become an adult and you work solely for yourself and you got no fucking idea what you're doing, you're in survivor mode. And I think for me, I'm built to survive. My body is programmed. It's not programmed. It feels programmed. It's used to going at life in a certain way, which is to just tackle it, which is to just go, which is, I don't got time to sit here and think and breathe and rest. I have to move. I have to go. I've got to go. So I think just being sick recently, being sober per my medication that I'm on, having clarity just coming in through me, and also don't mean to get witchy here, but I do. My podcast. We had a new moon in Gemini recently, and there's been a whole bunch of other witchy related things going on, planetary things that are happening, that there's this boiling, bubbling energy coming from the earth, the universe, within the tides, the moons, everything. Roll your eyes if you want, I don't care. But I've been feeling it. I've been really feeling it. And I feel that, for me personally, I'm in a place of blooming right now. I feel like these past few months I have planted the seeds, and I've been waiting out those cold, hard months for that little sprout to just kind of bust through that dirt, that cold, hard dirt. And I feel that everything that has been happening recently in my life has just been beautifully easing to now. So yeah, Pride Month was not what I expected it to be. I thought we were just going to be gay and happy and drinking. But no. Been quiet. Been meditating. Been journaling. Been stretching. Been walking. Been listening to podcasts. Been slowly working. Been immersing myself in nature. Been not spending money. Been spending time with my sneaky little dog. And that's okay. I'm fine with it all because I'm just going with the flow of life. I'll do it big next Pride Month. I'll be happy. I'll be healthy. I'll be wealthy. I'll go to all the events. I'll drink until I want to throw up, maybe. Depends. Who knows? But I don't feel like I need to be so caught up anymore about like, oh, this was a shit month. This was rock bottom for me. Because in all of my past years of working on myself, my healing, becoming more in tune with who I am, becoming closer to spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, I'm realizing that this is just a phase of life. And also, what a beautiful phase it is. People say rock bottom is terrible, scary, the worst place that you could be in life. I disagree. I totally disagree. I think there's nowhere to go but up. You're already at the bottom. You're deep, deep, deep at the bottom. Maybe you're below the Earth's surface. Like that. It's a submarine. Too soon. But being able to build on a sturdy foundation at the bottom, the core, there's nowhere to go except for up. So as unpredictable as these past few weeks have been for me, I've also never felt just more inspired and more ready and more capable for the future and what's to come, the good and the bad, and knowing that if I ever get into a place where I am down and I am sick and I'm feeling hopeless, that I know it's still going to be okay, that everything's going to be fine, everything will work out as it works out, and it's going to be grand. So the other thing I really wanted to talk about for the last half of this podcast is something that I've been thinking about recently a lot, it's being you and being authentic to you. I've been thinking about this a lot recently because I've had a lot of changes in my life, personal changes with people in my life. Changes in general. Like I thought I would still be living in a van right now, exploring the country, but I'm in an apartment, which I love. I do love this place so much. I want to live here for as long as possible. And again, excited for what maybe 5 to 10 years could bring me. And if I find myself in another rig, maybe a bigger rig, a more reliable rig, and can travel and enjoy life again that way. I know that option is always out there for me. But just a lot of things have been changing recently. And I was inspired by a client of mine. We are doing a session next month. This will be his second session with me. And wonderful, amazing guy. I was first introduced to him because I photographed his wife, and then I photographed the three of them as a family. And then of course he saw his wife's photos and was like, let's do this. But I remember when I got on our consultation call with him, he answers the Zoom and, I was like, hey, how's it going? I'm so excited for this. And he was on his computer, he was in his office, and he was looking at my Instagram. And there was just this beautiful expression on his face. And he was trying to put what he was thinking into words. And he was like, I was just looking at your latest post. And, it's just really inspiring. And I said, oh, what do you mean? And I think it was like a post that maybe I had shared about the podcast, or it was, I guess we talked back in April, preparing for the session for next month. So I forgot what I was posting back then, but you know me, I'm always vulnerable. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I share a lot over there, maybe too much politically, learning how to reel it in. But there's just this soft expression on his face, and he was just like, I can just feel the vulnerability from you, and it's just very inspiring and wonderful. And that just something, when he said that, it just kind of clicked for me, and I was just like, thanks. Like, I really appreciate that, because for me, working as a photographer who has to market her own self, share her work, share my life, a big part of my job is me. And a big part of people wanting to work with me, not only because I do amazing work, but there is a relationship and an energy that is exchanged between a photographer and their client during the session, especially with what I do, weddings and boudoir. Those are very intimate times and days in people's lives. And I want people to know me for the real me and what I believe in, my fears, my thoughts, my flaws, like everything. Like I want to show up as best as I can as myself. And I feel like for the last 4 years, probably like before the pandemic, obviously during the pandemic, I was just so worried to be myself. I was so worried to be authentically me. And, you know, I've been in business for a while now, and I've been in the spiritual hippy-dippy world for a while now. And both entrepreneurs and people in the spiritual realm will say the same thing. Be yourself, and everything will come to you. What is destined for you is going to come to you and arrive right at your feet, as long as you can be authentically who you are and not be afraid to be who you are. And so like the last handful of years, I've just been afraid. I've been afraid of what I'm posting. What are people going to think about this? Is this too much skin to post? Am I going too deep into the conservative party? Am I sharing stuff that I shouldn't be sharing? Am I just trying to show up in this world, in this online world, as an artist, as a creative, as a human, in a way that I think I should? In a way that's operating as, you should be doing this because other people are doing this. Or maybe you should do this because this will get you more likes. Therefore, I've been thinking business mode, which I guess you kind of have to sometimes. You know, you're in business for yourself. You've got to think about this stuff. But also, I've been too afraid to just show up. And I've had things recently, you know, happen in life where, you know, my parents and I went through a rough time in 2020, you know, not to get political again, but we went through a breaking and reopening, I feel like, of our relationship, and talking about things that are really hard that we've never really had to speak about before. And then I've also been going through things with friends recently that were some good and some bad. Like I had an instance recently where I just needed a break from one of my friends, and we're thankfully back together, and I couldn't be happier about it. I think I just needed time to breathe, because simultaneously I was also going through a couple of other instances with people that were bad, that were just hurtful, and they were painful. And I think I was lumping this other person into all of these things that I was feeling and I was stressed out about. And I was feeling a lot of lack of love and attention and time. And I've come to understand that we all have our own realities. We all have our own timelines. We all are in our own world. And I was just going through so much stress that I think I just needed a break from a lot of it. And thankfully, I'm back with my friend, and it's one of the greatest joys I have, honestly, because she has been a friend of mine for a very, very long time. But with a couple other of the instances of people, I found myself in this space where particularly two of these friends it was hard for me to feel like I could be my authentic self with these two individuals who are no longer in my life and who ironically are both blocked from my social media. We'll get into that. But I had a hard time feeling like I could be authentic with these couple of people. And it was because their reality was very different from mine, but their reality is what they expected the other people in their life and in their corner to be at, and to be in, to be on the same wavelength. And that's just not how it works. You can't bend somebody into being the person that you think or you want them to be. And again, everything is just a reflection. So that was a reflection on them. And clearly they are in places in their lives where they are uncomfortable. They need a lot of healing, a lot of therapy, a lot of silence. But I just found myself in these spots of trying to mold myself to fit into other people's boxes, to fit into the box of what this friend needed me to be or wanted me to be. And it played into my whole authenticity thing. I have felt stagnant for the last few years. And as someone who has generally and genuinely always been a people pleaser their entire life, especially in business on yourself, if you've got an angry customer, you can't retaliate. You can't, you've got to come at it level-headed. We got to be on the same page. I need to make you happy because this is my business and I am the sole person running this business and my business cannot be tarnished. So I need to do whatever I can to make my client happy. I just can't be like, whatever. I'm not a big company. I'm not a big corporation that can handle the backlash or possible lawsuit, which, knock on wood, never ever had to go there, never even questioned going there ever. And I hope I never will, because I'm a reasonable person, even when it comes to people and their photos. I will always offer a reshoot if you're unhappy. Nobody's ever unhappy. Anyways, well, there have been in the past, but I'm good. I've been doing this since I was like a teenager. So of course there's been times, but anyways, my authenticity, it was being toyed with and it was being played with. And I felt like I couldn't just be myself because as someone who is a people pleaser and someone who prioritizes their friendships greatly, I felt stuck in a few of them. And it was because there was no give. It was everything on their terms. It was, this is what you need to do. This is what we have to do. Yada, yada, yada. And I was talking on another episode about this, Nico. I mentioned Nico in my last episode. And we were talking about there is so much judgment in this world and not enough love. And I see that and I find that in a lot of friendships and relationships. Even hearing people in that, like my friend talking about their friend who like I'm not really friends with or like I don't even know. There's so much judgment. And if we just stopped judging people and trying to put them in boxes and saying, no, you need to be in this category, therefore we can be friends, to say, you know what? I don't necessarily agree with you. I'm not in the same position as you. I don't necessarily think you're doing the right thing, but I'm not going to sit here and judge you. I'm just going to give you love. Because if you truly loved someone and a friend, you would just be there to support them and love them. Maybe you're not agreeing with their actions. Maybe you're not agreeing with their trajectory of life. Maybe you don't like to do the same activities that this person does. Maybe XYZ, whatever. If there's true love there should be nothing just but love and support. And not trying to mold people into fitting into your world, into your reality. Because everybody's reality is vastly different. And so this instance with these two people, one back in 2020 and then one really recently, like this month, I had to block two of these people because there was a boundary that I needed to set. There was a boundary that was previously set, and the relationship is done. It's done and dusted. If you watch Love Island. And for both of these people, they kept showing up in life in a way that wasn't respective of my boundary. So this one friend I asked, we don't need to speak anymore. It's too painful for me. I've tried to get to a place in our relationship where we can be different. And I've tried for the last couple of years and it's just not working. So now I think it's just best to part ways. Okay, sidebar. Sorry, I've been having a little bit of technical difficulty with the video. So if you have been watching the video, the last several minutes of me speaking will just be a photo of this podcast artwork because went over speaking and the camera was not recording, but you'll still get it via audio. You just won't get to see my funny expressions during the last 7 minutes. Anyways, moving on. We will be wrapping up here soon, but as I was saying, so the lack of authenticity I had been feeling in my life, it stemmed through so much business, relationships, and me trying to fit into other people's boxes and parameters. And I just realized that, my peace is too important. My boundaries need to be respected. And I no longer have to people please and do things according to what other people want me to do or expect me to do. At the end of the day, my peace and my mental health is only ever going to be supported and cared for and nurtured and protected by myself. And again, going back to Candace and Docs, and I've said this in the past as well, I am happy, more than happy, being the villain in some people's stories, or the person that fell off and stopped talking, or the person who had to block you. It's as simple as protecting yourself, protecting your peace. There is enough going on in this world. There's enough stressors going on in this world that I don't need to put up with dealing with someone that I have ended a relationship with who still continues to try to talk to me or show up in my life in some way or form. So no remorse. I don't feel bad. I literally only have 2 people blocked in my entire life, and they are 2 of my ex-good friends. And, I wish them well. I wish them love. I wish them nothing but happiness in life. But I don't know. I just think that some people need to just look outside of themselves a little bit more and really heal and take some time for yourself. Figure it out, don't drag other people into your shit. But now, with this month, me being sick, me having clarity, me feeling a shift in the world and, everything, I've just coming out of rock bottom, so to speak. I just feel excited about what is to come, and I feel excited about the place that I am at in life, within myself, within my soul. I'm stepping up for myself. I'm putting me first. I'm doing things that are protecting my sanity and my happiness and my peace. I'm showing up and I'm being vulnerable. I'm taking the necessary actions. I'm allowing life to flow naturally and gracefully as she will. And with the good and the bad and the hard times and the days where I'm crying or the days where I am exuberant with joy, I am letting it all happen, and I'm trying to just be in the present moment, and I'm trying to remember that my story and my reality is my reality, and my truth is my truth, and my truth deserves to be honored, and it deserves to be shared. And and just existing in a way that feels healthy for me. And there's also been, for the last several years, I've had this realization that there were so many things that I could see myself in life doing, big things. I want to photograph Lizzo, and I want to photograph Rihanna. And I've held myself back for so many years because part of me was like, I don't want to work that much. I don't want to become that big. Like, I like a cozy life. But I also like challenges, and I also like goal setting, and I also like dreams. And I've held myself back in a lot of ways because with myself, with my personality, with who I am, with my photography, I know that I could get really far. I could probably get as far celebrity photographer if I wanted to. I know deep, deep, deep down inside that I could get there easily. But moving through life, having hardships, finding out what really matters and what's really worth it. There's been so many times where I've needed to reevaluate what it is I really want. Do I want to be that busy? Do I want to be that booked? Or do I want to just have a sweet little studio here in my town and photograph the locals until I'm 60 years old and retire peacefully in the countryside of Italy? With my friends, with new acquaintances, maybe with a lover, who knows? Dogs, for sure. But all of this, I'm just throwing out the window right now. I'm letting life flow. Because I do have big dreams and I do have big aspirations. But I also have needs and comfort that I realized that I desire in life. Stability. Having an apartment, having a couch, having a place that I can come home and feel so safe and secure and comforted and protected. And I think I'm just going to allow life to just continue to flow. Maybe I'll photograph Lizzo and Rihanna one day, but I'll still keep it chill and reside in Bellingham. Maybe I'll move to New York one day because I'll be a big-wig fashion photographer. All I know is that whatever life has in store for me, it has in store for me. But for now, I'm honoring the calls that come in. I'm breathing deep. I'm grounding. I'm rooting into my body, into myself. I'm thinking. I'm sitting in silence. I'm allowing answers to come to me. And I'm just going to see where it all takes me. Because again, everything is going to work out just as it is supposed to. And no matter where I end up in life, still single, working like crazy, having a peaceful little life still here in Bellingham, ample work, enough money to go and travel overseas a couple times in a handful of years or so. Whatever it looks like, I'm excited for it. And I'm ready to step more into who I authentically am and sharing my truth more and not being afraid and not holding back and doing the necessary things that I need to do to protect myself and sending love every step of the way, even to those in my past and to those that I might necessarily not agree with, to those who come in my future, and most importantly to myself. Most importantly to myself. So there we go. Who knows what I'm going to title this episode? That was a lot. Thank you for being here. Thank you for dealing with the video malfunction. Again, always looking for people to interview. I'm so excited about the 2 people that I'm interviewing this weekend. 2 good friends of mine and 1 repeat interviewer. TBD on that one. But I'm excited. We're going to be talking about some stuff, and it's going to be good. But still, please, if you like this podcast, reach out. I'm always looking to have more people on. It's, I love the perspective that everybody has. I love people's stories. I love where people are at in life. You don't have to be asexual. You don't have to be single. If you have something that you think you can contribute, or something that's totally opposite, you're monogamous or you're poly or you're straight or you're trying to deal with fragile masculinity. I mean, the list goes on. There's a million and one things we can talk about on this podcast. And I just want it to be a space where people can come and just feel heard. Yeah. So thank you again for being here. Next week we will have another interview, and I'm excited for that. It'll also be the first interview that I will record. And I'll try to be better the video this next time. Found out recently that you cannot record more than a certain amount of time on a DSLR camera due to taxes. Capitalism. It's everywhere, even in our technology, even in our equipment. Don't believe me? Look it up, Google it. Fascinating stuff. It's frustrating for a visual artist / photographer, videographer, but yeah, taxes. Sons of a bitch. Thank you again. I know I've already said this. Wanted to also point out again that I am in Bellingham in my beautiful apartment near Fairhaven, recording on Lummi Nation and Nooksack Tribe territory. Forever indebted and grateful to this land and this place that I have called home for like most of my life. I've been coming to Bellingham since I was an infant, a newborn. So even though this is my second time technically residing in this city, it feels like it's home for me. And that is another thing about just being my authentic self. It was getting out of Seattle and going to a place that I felt loved and supported and cared for. And it is here. And I've got a sickening view, and I can't believe it. And I'm so blessed, and I'm so lucky, and expressing gratitude from here on out. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.